G'day everyone and welcome to Chris Rankin's Music Crush. Just a listening video, bit of a shorter one. I am kind of in the midst of just going through for one last time all my Voivod albums and getting ready to do the rankings video. I don't think I'll be able to do it this weekend. Very, very hard to rank. They are just, for me, there's no album of Voivod that's less than 8.5 out of 10. And with so many in that sort of between 9.5 out of 10 and 10 out of 10, it's really tough to rank. So that I'll get through. But I thought I'd just do a little bit of a listening video. I got one new album recently, a new release that I absolutely love. It's one of my favourite albums of the year for sure. And just a couple of other little things I've been listening to lately. Including what I think is one of the best sides of metal ever. That's a big call, I know, but it is one of the best ever. But you'll see. You'll have to wait to the end to find out. Oh my God, that's a bit of a cliffhanger. That's not like me, but you know what? So be it. I won't make the video too long, so you don't have to wait to find out what I think that is. But anyway, first up, this is one of my definitely one of my favourite albums of 2021. I know the full list is pretty long at the moment. We're up to, so every time I love a new release, I save it, the album cover pick into a folder, and then when I get to the end of the year, I whittle it down to my top 100. At the moment, I've got 329 albums saved into that folder. So a great year, so many great albums, and as usual, it'll be very tough to cull that down to my top 100, but we'll see how we go. But anyway, this is definitely one of my favourite albums so far of this year. Came out, I forgot to look, but I'm pretty sure it came out sort of late May, end of May, and I actually got this reasonably quickly. The band is called Sepatus. They are from Philly, and a bit of a mix of some people from other fantastic bands, which is why I jumped on it. I didn't really know about their first album. I knew they existed, but I'd never had a chance to check out their first album. Checked out this, listened to a little bit of online on Bandcamp first, and went, yep. Didn't even make it halfway through, like the third track, and went, yep, I'm going to get that. So got it straight away, and love it. Now, one of the things that drew me to this is one of the band members, Eric Malave. He is in the black metal jazz band that I love, Imperial Triumphant, which I've shown quite a few times before. Their album, Alphaville and Vile Luxury, two of my favourite albums of all time. That amazing blend of black metal and jazz and avant-garde, just so good. And that's what drew me to this. Other members are in the bands Pyron and Weeping Sores as well. So yeah, I knew, even before I listened, I knew I had to listen, and I was not disappointed. And when I got this, it's just fantastic. The sound on this is really good. And part of the reason for that is I fully always think this really works out well. I'm not an audiophile at all, but just in general, I've noticed. So it's only 6 songs, and it's a double LP. And everything's just spread out so nicely, and the sound is just fantastic. Their sound is pretty much cross between black metal and death metal, but quite technical. A little bit of grind, but if you don't like grind, don't let you put that off, because it's not grind at all. There is just a little bit of it. Sometimes you might hear people call this sort of stuff war metal, which is kind of a weird, I've always said it's a bit of a weird label for a genre, but it's got a bit more of that about it than grind, but technical, and then it sort of blurs the line constantly between black metal and death metal. Just ferocious, but complex as well, lots of interesting parts where there is long sections without any vocals. When the vocals are there, they're gruff and a mix between black metal vocals and death metal vocals. Just interesting all the way through. No song really sounds the same. you just want to keep listening to it and listening to it in case you find more things that you didn't hear before. This all wrapped up in a very, very aggressive, brutal manner, but so interesting. The songwriting is so good. Came in this gatefold, beautifully packaged. Of course, packed just right with the LPs on, not on the actual inside of the jacket, but just actually inside the gatefold. Really good. Now, I'll take it out. I'm not going to try and put this back on camera because, as usual with the gatefold, it takes a little bit of slow sort of patience to get the records back in the gatefold. So, but as the metal theologian says, it's on coloured vinyl. He cracks me up. His latest video, his two latest videos, outstanding. I mean, the one where he showed that Child Saint record, instantly that Child Saint record then goes to the top of my Grail list. I mean, how good was that? So good to see. But look, there we go. There's the, as he would say, the coloured vinyl. Just makes me laugh when I even think of that. But yeah, so good. I absolutely love this album. One of my favourites, probably will be finishing in the top 10 favourites of this year. Maybe higher, maybe even like 15 to 20, something like that. But so the band is called Separatists. There we go. In case you don't understand my pronunciation or you want to get it for sure, Separatists. And the album title is called Phantom Indigo. I always have to read the spine because it's not shown anywhere there, so it's not ingrained into my skull quite yet. Just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I think the best way to probably describe it is it's just a great extreme metal album. Everything that you look for in the main subgenres of extreme metal, you'll find it in this. And the musicianship, as I say, with those band members. Weeping Sores, if you've never checked out the band Weeping Sores, especially their last album, which came out, I think, 2019. Quite similar sort of artwork too, actually, the Weeping Sores artwork. It looks... think of a very nicely done, this sounds stupid, but think of a very nicely done, literally Weeping Sore, but done in these sort of colours and quite sort of abstract in its look. And that album, once again, is a fantastic album. So good. But yeah, that's one of my favourite albums of the year, and I got that a week ago, middle of last week, and I've been playing that a lot. Pulled out this album. Easy one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best epic doom bands of all time, While Heaven Wept. And it is that. It's doom, but it's epic. A little bit like Atlantean Codex, or even Scold, I guess, if you know the Russian Scold. Certainly more epic and progressive than bands like Trouble and Candlemass. But we're in that area. But if Candlemass is the starting point of epic doom without being progressive, then you'd have to call this band progressive. Not to say that they're progressive metal, that's not really quite right, but yeah, I think you know where I'm going with that. And epic is the ultimate word for this band. They really bring, it sounds grand and quite deliberate and quite beautiful, but you know, there's plenty of heaviness here, don't worry. Great riffs, exquisite songwriting, absolutely love the songwriting. Now this is my favourite album by them, Vast Oceans Lachrymose. Title track I love on here. The Furthest Shore is one of my favourite doom songs of all time. Vessel is fantastic. And look, it's only, 6 songs, so you get the idea. It's not, I know doom tends to be quite spread out anyway, but this is all about you sit down and buckle up for the ride and just fully enjoy it. It's not an album to be rushed. But it's not plodding. It's it's not funeral doom, and it's not overly plodding. It still has its moments where it's not completely going at glacial pace, and it's not really a glacial paced doom album either. But it's the epicness. is what I love about this band and album. So now this was 2009. This is their third album. I also love the album before this called Of Empires Forlorn, which is brilliant, which is always on my radar to grab a physical copy of. Absolutely love it. This is my favourite that they ever did. Sadly, they broke up in 2019. Real shame. I think they put out 7 albums overall, maybe 6, 7. 8 might be a bit too many. Somewhere around that. 2019 they broke up, which is a real shame. And they're from Virginia. I can't remember what city in the state of, or in the Commonwealth of Virginia, I should say. I'm sorry. But yeah, they're from Virginia, or they were. Brilliant. Absolutely love it. Need I say any more? I mean, seriously. Just, for me, this is one of the greatest Swedish death metal albums of all time. And this might be a little bit... some of you might strongly disagree with me here, and that's fine. Music is subjective, but this is my favourite Dismember album. I know Like an Ever-Flowing Stream would probably be many people's favourite Dismember album, their first. This is my favourite. This is their third album, came out in 1995. I mean, 1995, just absolute, right in smack bang Main Street death metal glory years. And now, if the album was absolutely atrocious, just that cover alone would automatically give it a 5 out of 10, right? It's easily one of the best album covers of all time. Plus, with the title, Massive Killing Capacity, it just doesn't get any better than that. But this is 10 out of 10 for me. Absolutely love it. The title track, one of my favourite death metal songs of all time, Massive Killing Capacity. War Dead is brilliant. Casket Garden, brilliant. I love everything. Absolutely love everything about this album. So from Stockholm, Sweden, of course, Dismember with Massive Killing Capacity. Always a danger for me putting this in the CD player in the car or something like that, because there's a good chance it might not come out for a while. I just love it to bits. So good. Next, I've been listening to this fantastic album by this really, really fantastic band, Apocalyptica. Of course, they started out as an all-cello band, and they pretty much are all cello. Well, they especially on this album, they had a vocalist come in as well. Some of their albums have had vocalists, but they've tended to be... Early on, they were doing Metallica covers with the cellos, and then they moved on, wrote their own material. This is my favourite album of theirs. I just absolutely adore this. This album really means a lot to me too. Very, 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 very. I don't know like the words to say, but it's a very strong album to me and has a lot of meaning and means a lot to me. Just brilliant. The vocals in here by Frankie Perez, outstanding. Adds an extra element to their music, so it's not just the cellos. So if you don't know this band, they're generally a band from Helsinki, Finland, with 3 cellos, and basically all the music is done by them on the cellos and then with a drummer. And on this album they have a vocalist, and just so good. Hole in My Soul is easily one of my favourite songs of all time. That song means a lot to me, it really does. The fantastic title track, Shadow Maker, brilliant catchy song. Riot Lights, another really great catchy song. And Dead Man's Eyes is sort of like a longer, proggy, quite dark sort of a song as well. Very catchy songs, and something just very different, a very different metal band. I have seen them live, and they were flawless. And just quite, because it's the cellos, quite a different sound. It was a really interesting, amazing concert, and I loved them bits. They were backing up. Who was the I can't remember if they were the support or the main act, but they were on with Coheed and Cambria. And I really can't remember which one was the headline now and which one was the support. That's crazy. Because they're both kind of about the same bigness, if you know what I mean. Both were great, but I may have enjoyed this just a little bit more because of how unique, well, no such thing as how unique, they're unique, right? But just unique and just a different sound to everyone else. And it was just so great to finally see them live. Loved every minute of it. And yeah, so this is Shadowmaker. This came out 2015. This is their 8th album, I'm pretty sure. I might be missing 1 or 2 in there, but I'm pretty sure it's their 8th album. So yeah, Apocalyptica, Shadowmaker. I know the cover's a little bit white there. But yeah, quite an easy album to get, actually. You see this in a lot of the sort of general mall music stores, if you know what I mean. So not too hard to find, but really good. If you've always seen it or seen some of their albums or their covers and you've never checked them out, they're really good, really interesting. And yeah, I would, you know, I admit I'm not a big covers fan at all in any way. So that's a really good album by them because it's all their original material and the songs are, yeah, they're just fantastic. Very accessible, very catchy. The music, if you wanna, I don't really like doing for fans of, because I find then if you don't like that band that I suggest, then you're not going to try them out. But there is a little bit of Nightwish. If you want anything to think of what their music might sound like, the closest thing I can think of is maybe, you know, like a Nightwish or a Camelot or something like that. In between those two, I guess. But yeah, fantastic. Now, I talked last video about Druf. I can never know how you pronounce that. I think it's Druf, the band from UK, spelled D-R-U-D-K-H. Atmospheric black metal band, but I always call them a nature black metal band because that's basically what they're all about. And while I had Autumn Aurora out, I put that back in and I thought I have to pull out this one as well. This is my second favourite of theirs. I talked about Autumn Aurora on my last video, which is my favourite. This is my second favourite of theirs, called Microcosmos. And that's exactly what it's about. That's what it's all about. So think of atmospheric black metal among the realms of Microcosmos, and you know the songs are just absolutely beautiful, absolutely stunning. Black metal, yes, definitely, but loads of atmosphere, lots of big soundscapes, and just beautiful music. But yeah, this is my second favourite of theirs. So if you've never heard of the band or never checked out the band Druf, and you think if you're a fan of atmospheric black metal, and black metal that's a little bit different and more about the soundscapes rather than the raw aggressiveness, then you'll like it. You know, bands like Obseki and Panopticon, things like that. If you know those bands and you've never tried Druf, then I highly recommend. Blsnord is another one that is in that realm as well, of the really fantastic atmospheric black metal. But yeah, now this came out 2009. This is their 7th album, so well and truly into the middle of their catalogue. And you know, they're constantly putting out albums all the time. They had one that just came out this year. They had one that came out last year. Fantastic. Now, I made you wait till the end, didn't I? So I think I was listening to this today because I'm doing my last sort of prepping for ranking the Voivod albums, and I'm getting stuck because I just want to put the album on right. Let me listen. Is that better than that? And that better than this? And then I get stuck because I put something on and go, damn, this is fucking good. And I just sit there listening to it and go, hang on. I'm meant to be doing this to rank the albums. And that's when I really looked at this side of this album, and I think that it is one of the best sides of any album in metal history. And it comes off this album. Now, this is a masterpiece. I mean, I love Voivod, and I just love everything they do. As I say, my least favourite album of theirs is 8.5 out of 10. And everything else is in between that. And when I rank the videos, I've got the whole catalogue as well, so you'll see it all. So I think one of the best sides ever in heavy metal history is side B of this. For me, there might be things that equal it. There's probably quite a few things that equal it, but nothing's better than this. I mean, Forgotten in Space, straight up, that's my favourite Voivod song of all time. That riff, that excuse my ridiculous recital of that riff, but man, it is good. And then you've got Ravenous Medicine, which was kind of a minor hit for them as well, and a music video, catchy as hell, heavy. Then you've got Order of the Black Guards, just so good. And then This Is Not an Exercise is heavy, heavy, crunchy, heavy. That side for me is a perfect blend of thrash, prog, and a little bit of thrash death. Definitely not death metal, but a little bit of thrash death because it is quite heavy. But the riffs on this whole album, the whole album is perfection for me, but just that side B, and that's when I thought, I think that's actually one of the best sides in heavy metal history. So yeah, absolutely love it to bits. And just some of the new albums I've been listening to that I've loved this week. The new album by Cognitive is really good. The Vouna album, Vouna, fantastic album, absolutely fantastic album. I'm trying to think now, I'm spacing because I've forgotten. The new Wizardthrone album. Now, Wizardthrone, this is a weird one because Wizardthrone are members of Ailstorm, Gloryhammer, but they've got together and got up this band going called Wizardthrone that is a mixture of a black metal, death metal band, a little bit of power metal in there as well. And their album that's just come out, I think it's self-titled from memory, or maybe not. It's green with like a cube, like an impossible cube on the front, and Wizardthrone. What an album. Wow, so good. Space Chaser, thrash band with a sort of a real, speaking of Voivod, Space Chaser, kind of in that same vein, a thrash band that's got a lot of sci-fi elements to it. Great album covers. So yeah, some really good albums. I'll put those albums and the titles of those in the description below for the new releases that I've loved this week. And I will, as soon as I can, I'll finish ranking the Voivod albums, and then I'll put the video up when I get a chance to film it. So I've actually got a day off today, would you believe? And I was hoping to get the rankings finished, but I don't want to rush it. It's a very important band to me and very important rankings to do, so I won't rush it. So anyway, thanks very much for watching. Really appreciate it, and I'll catch you all soon.